This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. Hey, Carm Capriato, the Aftermarket Podcast guy, and welcome to the 621st episode of Remarkable Results Radio. Hey, amidst the pandemic scare, shops have taken advantage of VoIP phone systems, cloud services, and new technologies to serve their customers. Now, some have had their service advisor working from home for various reasons. Now, imagine having support for your counter in the virtual world. Is there a future for a virtual service advisor? Hey, our guest today, Robbie Bunch, became a virtual service advisor because of the pandemic, and he has excelled at it. His previous experience helped make this a reality for a shop that he supports. Not only is Robbie Bunch doing virtual service advisor work for a shop, he continues to work for his other business, Platform Digital Marketing. Robbie and I tossed out the idea of creating an entire industry of virtual service advisors to support shops when your business is growing, but you're really not in need of a full-timer. Or how about when you lose a service advisor? How about this while you're looking to hire a new person and you've got a gap in service? Question, would you rely on a virtual service advisor to take up the slack? Well, this episode will get you thinking. Hey, we're honored to have Napa Smart Sign sponsor this episode. Due to the current restrictions in place in Las Vegas, Napa has made the proactive decision to postpone the Napa Expo, and they remain committed to provide a valuable in-person experience at the proper time. And they sure do look forward to hosting you when they can do it safely. Hey, I hope you have discovered our informative show, Aftermarket Weekly. Now, that's where we feature the wisdom from a guest host in the industry's first ever weekly virtual shop tour. Find every virtual shop tour at aftermarketweekly.com. Now, the key talking points for this episode with Robbie Bunch reside at remarkableresults.biz/E621. Hey, warm welcome to Robbie Bunch. He's currently with Sav-Mor Automotive in Plano, Texas, and the owner-operator of Platform Digital Marketing. Welcome, Robbie.
Good to be here.
Robbie's an automotive aftermarket professional. He's been around the horn, as they say, doing an awful lot of great things from distribution to writing service. And Robbie is currently supporting, as a virtual service advisor, the company that he's working for. During COVID, there was some discussion that came up about virtual service advisors. Well, when we get back to whatever normal is going to be, Robbie, and there's no reason not to be in the shop, I still think it's a fascinating strategy for our industry to be able to support counters, vacations, illness, by having a backup, if you will, quality, trained, experienced service advisor down the end of that wire. And the customer wouldn't even know the difference.
No, they don't. If anything ever comes up on that front, because I did have some concerns about it, I just tell them I work remotely. And especially right now, and I think moving forward for a very long time, they get it. They understand. So they don't even question it. 2 years ago, they might have been saying, why are we doing that? But now everybody does it.
When you say working remotely today, it's accepted. Years ago, wait a minute, what offshore country are you from?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Today, I think we're accepting the fact that we're all working remotely. And if it's not from home, then it's from a place where we've assembled, safely and securely because of COVID, the right kind of team. But I think this is fascinating. If a business just had some kind of, if you will, tragedy. They lost a key person. We've done shows on a heart attack and the local friends came and supported the business. But this is interesting. Virtual service advisor, VSA. I coined that phrase up maybe a few months ago. A VSA, virtual service advisor. And part of making it work, Robbie, and support my thinking on this, that's why you're here, is we need to have the right phone system, the right cloud-based software, all of the technology that a business needs to have. It's got to be there.
You do. I mean, it requires that, but most of them are on that already. They have probably 90% or more of the tools in place. Unless they're an older shop, and let's be frank here, they could probably use the upgrade anyway.
Thank you for saying that. That's a good V8 moment slap upside the head. Thank you for saying that. It's true. It's true. Are enough going to have a VoIP, voice over internet protocol? Are they going to have that kind of phone system?
Well, they're easy to set up, they're easy to use, and they're very flexible. So if you're still on an old, type landline system, then it's not a big deal to switch. And there may be ways to dial in on those as well. I don't know for sure, but the voice over internet is so much easier to use. It gives you so much more flexibility with everything. So why not go to it anyway? And the pricing is generally better.
We did an episode with Dwayne Myers when 18 of his people got COVID out of a 4-store operation. And if it wasn't for the phone system and the cloud-based software, I mean, even technicians in a place that they got COVID, but they worked from home talking to customers because they were able to, within seconds, move the phone calls from the operation, the store, into the technician's phone. And they even said that they had an emergency protocol process on, if it happens, here's what we do.
Well, there you go. Like I said, 2 years ago, we wouldn't have thought of this, but this stuff happens anyway. We just would have either shut the shop down or maybe gone and plugged somebody in that wasn't necessarily the right fit. I'm not the only one who pushed this, So it was a young guy fresh out of college who took over his dad's shop, and it was his idea first. But it was more of a, would this work? Because I was resisting him on stopping, my new venture with the marketing and going in there full time to help these guys out, even though I really wanted to. They're a young crew. They're very hungry. They need the help. They could use the help, but I just didn't want to give up on my other dream. So it was his idea. At first I was like an old industry guy, I was a little reticent about even exploring it. But within a couple of hours of gaming it in my head after that phone call, I just came to the conclusion, there's no reason this can't work.
I see in the background, and no one else can see it but me because we're here in the virtual studio, you've got a picture of the shop you probably support so you can see what's going on there, right?
Yeah, I watch them. Yesterday, I caught a phone call with a very upset customer that they probably couldn't have calmed down just because of the type of situation it was and their experience level. I happened to catch the call because there was nobody on the counter. I grabbed the phone, which is the only time I answer the phone, is if I see on caller ID that it's somebody I'm expecting a phone call from, or there's nobody there to grab it. So I grabbed it. I dealt with it. I'm pretty sure I calmed them down. At the very least, I didn't make the situation worse. I recorded the time. They can go back and listen to that phone call. They have that as a tool, which we do that a couple of times a day generally. I give them a time and I say, get a chance, go listen to this phone call.
Well, so you're not only supporting the counter in those emergency situations, you're also being able to coach and teach during the day. But when I talked to you before, I found out that you're really attempting to support estimates. You've got the DVI in front of you, and you're taking some pressure off the research that needs to be done to come up with a customer estimate. So you could do that from anywhere.
You could. And I had concerns about that because I was taught from my first day in an actual shop when I was 17 years old, you go look at the car before you sell the job. You need to know what you're selling. I don't know what exactly the number is, but you do need some experience on the counter before you could be successful at doing it remotely. But it's very doable. And I'm not talking about 20 or 30 years experience, but something, to see how it really works there.
That's interesting. You've got to have experience. You need to have that customer experience or the vehicle touch, see, feel experience. Mm-hmm. What do you need? Both?
I think just being in that environment in general.
Be inside the business, feel the buzz.
So much. Yeah, there's so much that you get there that you can't get remotely. It's not just like being in the shop by any means. It's all visual. There's no taste or smell or anything else. So, and I guess it would depend some on how much of a true salesman you are, which I'm reticent of even hiring full-on salesmen. I would prefer somebody who's good at selling service. I just have better experience that way with longevity of customers. They don't want to feel like somebody's been called in to drop the hammer on them. you're the closer calling. That's not what this is about. If you were just one of those salesmen that can sell anything, you could probably sell the work, but you couldn't support them in the other ways if that's all you were.
Got it. I understand. I mean, you really have to have immersed yourself in the workflow, the environment, and, I see that. And it's amazing. COVID is going to really change us, period. Not only automotive aftermarket, but everything we do. We were all having cocktail parties with Zoom back in, March and April of last year.
I had one Friday.
and many continued to do that. And who would have thought? Can't get together with the friends? Well, let's say hi virtually. And again, thousands of other great things that have happened because of COVID and how we've changed. Our automotive aftermarket is going to feel that too, because I think when we get back to normal, we're still going to be worried about cleanliness and safety. And, the fact that we got concierge service going, virtual automotive repair, touchless, all this. I think there's going to be customers kind of like a Disney experience that are going to expect that. I come here for those reasons. And I say all that because I believe that this virtual service advisor could become a cottage industry. I'm not trying to put anybody in a box, but ready to retire or retired professionals, it doesn't matter what level they were, if they were owner, if they were service advisor or technician, would say, I'd love to work, maybe 3 or 4 days a week or 4 or 5 hours a day in this, if you will, NORAD computer zone here, my terminals, and play service advisor from home.
That's just it. We're at that perfect transition, we'll call it, of time and circumstances where the people that are getting ready to retire are comfortable with technology. When I started in this back in the 90s, those guys, they could barely work a telephone, but the computers started coming on and we went to Windows-based systems. And so we've been doing that long enough now that even the guys that don't consider themselves tech gurus are comfortable enough with a computer, monitor, and a telephone. They could do it. They could lend their experience to that shop virtually, remotely, whether they know it or not. I stressed at the beginning of this to the guys, I just didn't know how this was going to go, and we needed to be very flexible with rules, as far as my responsibilities would be, what theirs would be. And it's still very dynamic and it changes, pretty frequently, but we've really got into a groove now where we're starting to understand each other's responsibilities and what each other needs to succeed. And that's really starting to come together. I think with even one person at the shop that was more experienced, that transition would be hours instead of days. It would be that smooth.
Hey, Carm here, and coming up, Robbie tells you what his average ticket is as a virtual service advisor. Hey, it's Carm here with news about the new Napa Smart Sign, previously known as the digital menu board. I like to think of it like a silent salesman on a TV near your service desk. It's an easy way for you to increase customer awareness of your current promotions and educate them about needed repairs and service. In other words, having a Napa Smart Sign will supercharge your sales. Napa Auto Care tests have shown 1 out of 5 consumers ask for a repair or service they've seen on the board. And targeted promotions resulted in double-digit increases. One auto care shop owner said, I've received amazing feedback. Customers are actually asking for additional services they see on the screen. Now that's what I call getting results. You choose the content for your Napa Smart Sign from a library of auto care services and repair topics. The Smart Sign comes with preloaded content. Just about anything you can think of is available, from alternators and alignment to wiper blades and wheel bearings. There are over 150 topics to choose from. Templates can be customized with your location branding for a professional look. Some of the options include customer reviews from Kukui, Demand Force, or MechanicNet, live news, and even the weather. Whatever content you choose, it's preloaded for you. Just as important, it's easy to change your services, prices, and video content anytime you'd like. Plus, the latest Napa national promotions are downloaded to you automatically. Of course, having a Napa Smart Sign gives your auto care center a professional, state-of-the-art look and feel that tells customers, I'm on top of my game. Now, that builds trust, which means recommendations are accepted more readily and customers spend more. Find out more about what Napa Smart Sign can do for your business. Talk with your servicing Napa store owner to find out more about the Smart Sign and all the other reasons to become part of the Napa Auto Care family, the largest network of independent repair shops in the country. And one of the reasons you're doing this for this young owner is that he needed some strength on the counter. And you provided that virtually, though, for him.
Yes. I go in one day a week. That's more for the other side of it, where I'm helping them out, more training involved.
Oh, all righty.
Yeah. So just as far as filling in a service writer gap or even a service manager gap, you can do all of that remotely. Strictly that I go in, get hands-on with these guys, that's just how I do it.
So the role started, please come in and consult and work with our people on the counter, and then it ended up becoming a virtual service advisor. Everybody around the world listens to this podcast, and it just doesn't matter where you're located. You don't have to be doing it from the local community where you can drive in.
No, not at all.
Have you built a business plan around this idea at all?
Well, I've gamed it out a little bit, and I kept hitting a stumbling block of manpower. Where do I find these experienced people that could do it and are ready? Because especially at first, they're not going to make the full income. I don't know. I don't think. I can't assume they will. But somebody had the genius idea of reaching out to retired and retiring folks. And I think that is the key to the whole thing. I really do. Because of where we're at in this intersection of time and circumstances, I think it works well. And so if you had an avenue to get to them and get them onboarding at the same time as reaching out to customers and letting them know this was there, and that all goes back to advertising in different forms and fashions, yes, it's doable.
I think finding the talent would be easy.
Well, just so everybody knows, it was your genius idea to have the retired folks come in.
and the only reason that I think it would be easy is just think about, as big as this industry is, there's an awful lot of people in my network, in your network, in my friend over here's network. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands who said, yeah, Charlie came into me the other day, says he's looking for something to do. He wants to go be a cashier at the grocery store just to get out of the house.
Yeah, we could probably just go to Walmart's and get all the greeters. And so, did you ever work in a shop? You come with me.
Yeah, what kind of personality do you need? You need a people person who can telepath their personality over the phone. And again, it goes back to the environment. If one of your critical pieces of your business plan is that you've had to be there, done that, then a retired owner, a retired technician, a retired service advisor, or someone who says, hey, I got enough money in the bank. I'm 62. I'm going to take early Social Security. I want to go out and earn, an extra 10 grand this year. And I'm going to spend some time in I'm going to take one of our spare bedrooms. I'm going to create my little NORAD system, and I'm going to work for 2 or 3 people all around the country. And maybe it's not consistently at one particular shop, but maybe it's a shop who had, as we said earlier, a circumstance. Hey, listen, I got a person who's going to be ill for 2 or 3 months. I need help. They call 1-800-HELP-VSA, virtual service assistant, and boom, they've got somebody.
I think the situation with this shop was a little unique. I mean, I know there's plenty of shops out there that could use and benefit from the support side that I offer them as far as training and advice and different situations. We had an emergency phone call all up until we got on this call today with you. That I don't think is the only, and maybe not even the most important aspect of this that could be used, because I can't tell you how many days I have spent alone on the counter in big shops that our customers sacrificed for it because I didn't have that help. If I could have had somebody to even do my estimates, much less call and sell the work, it would have made a world of difference in our sales, profitability, all of that, of course. But number one, in customer service, because that's the ticket. That's what we need. If not, you can't grow.
With the right customer experience attitude of answering the phone on the third ring. Think about that. Think of the power that drives to the image of your business. And let's jump on the fact that many websites are getting smarter and people are typing and they're actually working through either an estimate, how much can I set an appointment, if you will, a little artificial intelligence, a little virtually. And if they want to speak to someone, hell, that could be designed to go to the virtual service advisor instead of on the counter.
It could. And if they're good enough, they will not interject some of the negative qualities that I'm afraid shops sometimes project in that. And like I've told these guys repeatedly, your number one asset is you are locally owned, locally run, mom and pop business. And they've been there since 1963. So no matter what we do, we can't do anything to take away from that. So anytime we put a piece of technology in place, we always ask, is this going to hurt us? Is this going to make us look like some big corporation that we don't want to look like? And with COVID, it gives us a lot more flexibility there. People have different assumptions now than they did 2 years ago. So, we have a little more wiggle room there and we're taking advantage of it. And I don't see that wiggle room, we'll call it, going away anytime soon. People are not going to forget this. I think we could take advantage of it and help everybody along the way.
Can I get on my soapbox for just a sec?
You bet.
All right. Mom and pop. I love that term. I think it's had its day and I want to change it. You know what I want to change it to? The Neighborhood Professional Service Center.
And I like that too.
The place you support and work with, Sav-Mor Automotive in Plano, Texas, is a neighborhood professional service center. Neighborhood, close by, intimate community, professional service center. It describes that. Yeah, maybe mom and pop own it, but the fight that we seem to get in the industry from the big behemoth dealerships, the slick, the fast, we know that we get 70% of the action after warranty. So people love the independence very much, but we're also, as a group of independents, also competing with the really big box, lots of bays, bigger operations, which are not neighborhood professional service centers. And so I think, my opinion, anyone can write to me. Please let me know if you agree or don't agree with me. But mom and pop has gone the day of the word mechanic.
That's an interesting point that I've never put much thought into, but you're right, because it still doesn't say, hey, we're a big corporation, which is ultimately our goal to avoid. We don't want to have that feel. We don't want them to think that they're dealing with somebody else, overseas or out of town or anything else. It's us. And that can be done still, even if your service writer is calling you from Alaska. It can still be done.
Thank you for that. And I've talked about the Neighborhood Professional Service Center before, but this is the first time I've run this whole thing by anybody. Almost 900 episodes, Robbie. Thank you for humoring me and allowing me to say a few words here. Are you going to continue doing this for a while and supporting the company?
Yes. So, with them, I told them I'm not going to leave them until they're ready. I've made a commitment to them. That's less of a business thing, more of a personal thing. I'm personally invested in all of them doing well. I've really taken a liking to them. On the other hand, I have other things, irons in the fire, and I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say I don't have 12-hour days, but I'm getting somewhere. So it's worth it. Yes, I will continue to do it. And I've told them I suspect that I will be useful to them for at least 2 years. And after that, they may still have a need for a remote service advisor at some point. Somebody gets sick, like you said. And I think that's where the majority of the work, the action, we'll call it, would come from. You've got either a planned or a sudden shortage on the counter, and you've got fill in at a phone call. So, yeah, I think that's the real value here.
Planned or unplanned. Think about it. Listen, we're having a falling out. Things aren't working anymore. There's a culture drop in an individual with my company, or we've decided to make a major pivot in our company, and there's someone on my counter who's not pivoting with us. And so what should I do? Have that person hang around and hurt what we're trying to build, or find the virtual assistant company that has got the same values that we have in the people that they hire, and support my counter for however long it takes for me to find the right cultural replacement? Sure.
How many people have we kept on the counter because they were warm bodies? And how much does that hurt us? Ultimately, it happens to every shop. You cannot have human beings in a building and there not be differences. And sometimes they're irreconcilable differences. So you have to part ways. But how many of them have we let stay there knowing they're hurting us just because we needed somebody to answer those phones? Or the flip side of that is we let them go and we ran it short, which did just as much, but different kind of damage. There's a lot of opportunity here for everybody to fill in those gaps. It is very doable. It does require certain things. But I think those certain things are more and more common now anyway.
Would you ever think of building a business like this?
Sure, I would. Personally with me, I don't know that I have the wherewithal, if for no other reason, the hours in the day right now to do it on my own. With the right partners, I think it's more doable. If the right one came along, I would entertain that. Absolutely.
My thought would be is you're right. You maybe would need a couple of people to help you, but you bring the I've been there and done it experience to that strategy, that business plan. You may need someone that can invest 8 hours a day in the marketing and the nut and bolts and, making sure all the technology's in place. But you know exactly how to train a VSA.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've got a training background as well as a VSA background now, so it goes well together. One small little proof of concept is my average ticket with this shop here, I think we're 4.5 times the shop's average ticket right now, but we're closing that gap and they're getting up there. I'm not lowering mine. They're raising theirs. And so it's working. Because they have the ability to go back and listen to my phone calls. Even if I was just a service advisor, I was nothing else but a remote service advisor, they could still benefit from having that experience, just like I was on the counter, because all they have to do is timestamp the sell, which we do when we authorize it in the job anyway. And they can go back and listen to that just like I was sitting in the room with them, which is how I learned to sell a lot of stuff, was by listening to my teammates. So they still get that.
You got an amazing background, Western Auto. You sold parts in high school, worked 15 years for an independent training company, dealerships. Oh my, I mean, really, it's amazing. And you're only 32. It's amazing. So your other company, Platform Digital Marketing, what do you do there?
Local marketing for local shops. I don't do e-commerce. I don't do big industries. And this is doing the remote service advising has definitely slowed it down. I do some of our different marketing aspects, our reputation management, helping with getting our reviews up. I keep all of our directory listings across the many different search engine directories up to date, and we run ads as well. And I do that for them and some of the family's other businesses as well. So I've become very integrated into their family through this. One day I will be able to pull back a little bit from this and grow my marketing business up to expand out a little bit, but I'm in no hurry. I'm doing okay. And I'm bringing it up slowly.
Sounds like a good problem to have. This was a fascinating discussion, and thank you to our listener to allow Robbie and I to brainstorm, if you will, what a potential cottage industry of having virtual service advisors available to us. And who knows, if someone out there says, "Oh my God, Carm, this is great. Put me in touch with Robbie. Maybe we can build something together." There's enough retired people out there or leaders that would love to create a company like this and offer something to the industry that's never, ever been done before. Now, I know my friend Tom Ham had this happen to him where his service advisor at his place in Michigan, wife was pregnant, and they both decided to not risk any COVID exposure that he could bring home. He worked from home. They had all proof of concept, all the technology in play that you'd ever want, just like you're talking about. And I don't know if he's back to work yet and they had the baby, but by necessity, they made that work. You've got the second story that I've heard about this. And I'm telling you, I think this is something, and I think it's something that we need to all pay attention to. And if anyone is ready to hop on this thing, Carm, CARM at remarkableresults.biz, please be in touch with me or catch me on social media. informative. This was fun, and you opened my eyes to something really cool. Robbie Bunch, we're talking about being a virtual service advisor, and he's working currently at Sav-Mor Automotive, Plano, Texas, and he's the owner-operator of Platform Digital Marketing. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time,